While it may seem that there is no reason to bother voting, considering almost all national politicians are lying criminals, I still think it can be worthwhile. The globalist takeover of the Republican Party is almost complete. However, a backlash has occurred over the past 4 years. As the absurdity becomes apparent of endless wars on multiple fronts, with enemies that could be neutered with secure American borders, otherwise they present no threat. The opposing view to globalism has been gone since before Nixon. The democratic ideal is based on the more equitable distribution of wealth, using progressive tax rates and a centrally planned economy. The politicians, however, depend upon corporate donations and the lure of the revolving door back into the private sector. If the poor actually were raised into the middle class, would they continue to vote Democratic? I personally think that the larger the percentage of people that are poor benefits the Democratic Party, and that can create damaging policies. On the other side, the neoconservatives favor corporations over small businesses and have given fully into the idea that America is the global policeman. Then we are consistently fed constant fear-based mind control. These enemies in reality are created by the global policeman's disrespect for national sovereignty. The real battle is the collective versus the individual. What are we to do when both parties represent the collective and none represent the individual? In America, since our rights are endowed by our Creator, we, the individuals, are sovereign. The family unit or individual should hold the most power. In America, your rights are God-given and not government-given. So the government has, in theory, no power to take your rights. In a political system ruled by Democrats who want to empower the state and the unions and some corporations, and the Republicans who want to empower the corporations and the military, how can we possibly win? I'll say it again. The false paradigm is Republican versus Democrat. The real battle is the collective versus the individual. The collective is on the left and the right, seeking any way possible to snatch our God-given, constitutionally protected rights. For decades, we've watched those rights consistently be undermined. Now the collectivists and globalists have absolute control of both parties. But the inevitable effect of collectivist control of a country that was traditionally ruggedly independent is backlash. The contrast of a candidate who supports individual liberty and is anti-globalist will be strikingly apparent. And you better all know that candidate is Ron Paul. The collectivist whore media can't stand it. Both liberal MSNBC and neocons like Sean Hannity frothing at the mouth like demons when they hear Ron Paul's name uttered. The liberals who have been propagandized will say, well, doesn't he want to privatize everything? That's an ironic form of demonization, considering his number one issue is to restore the constitutional duty to coin and print money back to Congress instead of the private bankers and privately owned Federal Reserve. Does that sound like blind privatization? Now, combine his rock-solid support of individual liberty with what is clearly the most consistent voting record in modern politics. I trust he will continue to be true to these ideals even if elected. But getting him elected is not even as important as showing the public the contrast between the globalists that have usurped both parties and a real constitutionalist. I know the solutions to our current problems are complex. If you're a collectivist and you like your handouts and you just can't imagine non-federal government solutions to empower the weak and poor, I'm still for your freedom of speech. But let's let the states and local areas handle that, not the feds. Ron Paul throwing the poor out of their houses and letting them rot is a freaking figment of your mind control. That's the bankers. Duh. Not that his policies are 100% perfect. So anyway, I'm voting for Ron Paul, even if he's guaranteed to lose, for the simple fact that a vote for Ron Paul is a vote against globalism, collectivism, America as global policeman, endless wars, and a vote against the status quo controlled candidates. I also hope that Ron Paul will run third party to show the voters these Republicans and Darth Obama have nearly the same policies, in contrast to Ron Paul's constitutionalist pro-individual liberty ideals. And no, I don't care if a third party run is a spoiler for the Republicans. Who cares what lane you're in on the road to the hell of collectivism?